We're now going to the Popol Vu Museum, which is, as far as I know, the main Maya museum in Guatemala City. So let's check it out. It's this nice place surrounded by trees. And even though I've come here 4 times now, I still never went. And obviously, Guatemala is a very Mayan country, so it does make sense to visit this central museum. So we just finished going through to the museum, the Popol Vuh, and unfortunately you cannot film or take pictures there unless you pay extra, which we chose not to do out of principle. But actually the collection is quite nice. The museum is old. Yeah, it could definitely use remodeling to be redone, more in the style of, for example, the Miraflores Museum, which is built on top of the Mayan city on which Guatemala City is built. But essentially, I think it's a shame that you have to pay extra to take pictures and videos in the museum, because in a way you're stopping people from marketing the museum itself, right? It's free marketing that you're discouraging. But that's my opinion on that. So now we are in the museum right next door, which is the museum on fabrics of Guatemala, so traditional clothing. This one is not a privately owned, so it is allowed to take pictures and videos, which I will do. And what do we mean by traditional fabrics? We mean these kinds of clothing, like that and like that, which you find all across the country and which you can find in markets.
Tomar fotografías a las pinturas de Doña Carmen Peterson, pero lo demás ustedes pueden grabar, tomar fotografías, lo que quieran.
Gracias. So this is the way they colored the textiles here. So we see the cotton, the brown and the white cotton, and how they made types of sacks using this maguey plant, the indigo color from this plant here. This is a cool map showing the different huipil regions. So huipils are the motifs of mostly female clothing within Guatemala. So you see you have a ton of different regions and different styles. And so the museum explains how the original way that they were done, and how when the Spanish came, obviously they introduced wool and silk, which did not exist before in Latin America or in the Americas in general. And then the Industrial Revolution started, and so the mix of Spanish with Mayan styles started. And so instead of having, let's say, pure Mayan styles, what happened was a mix of the different styles and of the materials and production methods. And today we have these super intricate styles which people still wear today, mostly women, but in general you see people walking around wearing this every day, even in Guatemala City, but even more on the countryside. And look at this beautiful carpet. Here we see more examples, and look at this, like the colors are just incredibly strong. Alright, so these are huipiles, and you see how we have far more animals, flowers, those kinds of things. This is a great museum actually, because in my opinion, this is wow. Oh, this is what you want to see. So this is like the wine map. In Europe, you would have a wine map. In Guatemala, this is the wine map, except it's about huipil design. So you have so much detail of the different huipiles, the different tribes you see. You have the different tribes, the Quiche and the Cachiquel that I just talked about. You see where the different Mayan ethnicities reside, and each of them have their own style. So just looking at this, people from Quiche, so everything within this big box is Quiche. Even there, within this ethnicity, they have ways of making a distinction from someone from San Andres Xecul versus someone from San Antonio Ilotenango or anywhere else. And you see here this the Mam tribe, they really like red a lot, strong reds. And then the Kekchi, they like the white colors and this beautiful purple. Right, and if we zoom out, you see overall the styles. And these things, you can find them on markets everywhere. Here you see pictures. You can get them on markets everywhere. And you can get them as decoration or for pillows or towels or we have them at home. We bought a bunch as pillowcases because they're very nice. You know, I mean, you have to look at what type you prefer, right? Because there's so many different variations between the tribes. Like I like this. This is a nice. I like the yellow. It's quite special. Yeah. I don't like this type so much. You know, this flashy stuff. I like the milder colors. So the museum also has a section on masks, which is apparently also a pre-Hispanic and pre-Christian tradition, and you can also find these on markets everywhere. And very nice dresses. Less elaborate than the female ones, but I think it's special because this is something you really don't see that much anymore on the streets. So religious processions are a big thing in Guatemala. And here in this part of the exposition, we actually have a whole room dedicated to the types of clothing people would wear during one of these religious processions. And they are obviously more elaborate. So this is the map, which aligns quite well with the map from previously of all the different textile designs, but it's focusing rather on the languages. So each color represents I would say an ethnicity or a tribe of Mayans, yeah, and each of these speaks their own language. So the blue here, for example, is the Cachiquel, and these are the Quiche. And you can see here by category. So here we have a Latin language, Spanish, Garifuna, which is spoken at the coast by an African community, Chinca, which is a separate non-Maya language, which is spoken in Guatemala, but it is a non-European language and non-African language. And then here we have all the other languages, which are all Mayan languages. So we just finished this museum, which is called what? Ixchel. So, and I think it's a very nice museum. So we definitely recommend it. These textiles are something you will see everywhere in Guatemala when you come. And I think it's maybe a good idea when you start to come to Guatemala, drop by the museum to get an idea, so that when you travel around Guatemala, you can sort of hopefully identify high level some differences between the dresses, because
That's a game that you can play.
yeah, because really people actually do still walk around with those dresses. So today is Valentine's Day and we are here at Palermo restaurant, which is a famous Argentinian restaurant in Guatemala City. You can see they have a lot of different cuts, which I had to use ChatGPT to explain to me what they are. And as an Argentinian restaurant, obviously they have wine. And what's crazy here is how big Valentine's Day is, because they even have a Valentine's Day menu. So here we are in the La Estación area. So here is Laura's dish, which is 350 grams of marru, which is a type of cut in Latin America. And this one is my cut, also 350 grams of an Argentinian cut that I forgot the name of, but it's a very thin cut, as you can see. And then they also brought the vegetables, some salad, and this bread. Provecho. I've been looking forward to having a good steak in a very long time.
Wait.
I mean, Laura's visually looks better.
Let's see.
Very tasty. I don't know if I've ever had this cut before, but it's surprisingly fatty. Can I try one of yours? Okay, I'm gonna try Laura's. Mine is softer. So the texture of yours is tougher. The taste is better, but mine is also really good. Both are good.
Very well.
So in all my years of coming to Guatemala, I still haven't been to this Museum of National Archaeology. Oh, this is one of the two museums, and this is the other. So this one is the Museum of Modern Art. It's still closed. And this is the Archaeological and Ethnological Museum. So thankfully it's open. I was a bit worried. There's just a school here visiting. Let's take a look at the inside. Reflection. Hola. So this is where the museum starts, into the Mesoamerican culture, and this is sort of a way that they classify Guatemala in most museums, which is the highlands, Tierras Altas. Some also include the Tierras Bajas del Sur, right? This coastal region. But so Tierras Altas, the highlands, where we are right now. The Tierras Bajas del Sur, Tierras Bajas Centro, and then in the far north of the Yucatan we have Tierras Bajas del Norte. So basically all of this northern section is lowlands, And just this strip here that goes all the way up are the highlands. It's actually one of the better looking museums in Guatemala. Like, it looks very modern, tidy, well made, well lit, you know, unlike the other museum we went, the Popol Vu, I think, the Popol Vu Museum. This one is very well lit and very modern. This is actually for incense, in the shape of a turtle with spikes. And you can see how the incense would be coming out of its mouth and its butt, apparently. Yeah. Very, very cool. This is an ancient monument discovered in Caminaljuyu, which is the Mayan city, which Guatemala City is built on or around. I mean, the pieces here are very impressive, actually. And look at this. This is a jaguar head necklace. These incense holders are pretty impressive because they still have the original paint on them. The blue and the red. I'm just very impressed by the pieces here. They look so well preserved. If they're original, I believe they're original, but they look so well preserved and they have so many of them. So this is a sacred lord who reinstated Tikal's power. This snakehead is pretty cool, with the tongue coming out of its mouth. Here we're arriving in the ethnological section, and I just found it interesting to point out how they have the Spanish section, the English section, but then also a section in Maya, in Ixchel specifically. I mean, this is just one of like the 20 plus Mayan languages they have here. I don't know if the other Mayan people would be able to understand this, but so they chose to write it in Ixchel. So in this ethnological section, they show typical Guatemalan feasts. Right here on the left is the Semana Santa, so Holy Week, but it's closed. But here is a depiction of the Danza del Venado, so the dance of the deer, yeah? How they would dress up for this dance. And throughout this ethnological museum, you have these dresses, which is much like in the textile museum, but the full dress, and they write down at the bottom from where this dress is. So this is from Mixco, that's not too far from Guatemala City. And then this one is, for example, from San Raimundo, right? And you can see they have these little models everywhere. So this is a male dress of San Pedro de la Laguna. And here, if we continue, San Juan La Laguna. I believe those are at Lake Atitlan. So I think it's cool that at the end here of this ethnological section, they also included some traditional dresses from another country, namely Japan, gifted by the Embassy of Japan in Guatemala. And I guess it's also interesting for the local people because there's lots of schools coming here. You could maybe hear them in some parts of the videos. There's several school buses in front of this museum. I'm the only foreigner here right now. For these school children, it's probably cool to compare these dresses with the ones I just showed you over there. So how do you say take a selfie? In Spanish, it's tómate una selfie. In Quiche, it's chawelesaj akan jun awachibal. In Ixchel, it's Tawalesaj Jun Awachibal, Bel, and in English it's obviously take a selfie. So there is some commonality, right? So this Awachibel, Awachibal, Jun Jun, and Tawalesaj, Chawalesaj, right? But here they actually add another word for something in Quiche. So this short part of the exposition shows the sounds of the past. So here we recognize the danza del venado, so the dance of the deer again. This is the really famous Guatemalan instrument, which you see everywhere and which is playing in the background right now. And then we have the drums. We have turtle shell drums and other types of drums and little instruments. And then this wooden thing, which I'm not sure what it is. And then obviously the masks, which you can also buy in many markets here. The masks used for these traditional dances. So I just got out of the museum, and I think I've been to pretty much the vast majority of museums here in Guatemala. And this is one that I would definitely recommend if you're interested in Maya culture, Mayan art. It doesn't give you a historical view of Maya. Just some school kids saying bye here. And but I would definitely recommend it. It's really well made. It's modern. I would also recommend the Miraflores Museum. It's also really cool and modern, and it shows you how the ancient Mayan city that used to be here in Guate City, how they built Guate City on top of this Mayan city. And then the Textile Museum is also really cool. So that one is very interesting to compare all of the different museums, not the different textiles. So I'm back at this food court in Oakland Mall that we really enjoyed last time. As you can see, Laura is not with me. She's doing some administrative stuff in the city. I ordered this natural smoothie. Pretty rare actually here because generally they add a lot of sugar to everything, but I explicitly asked. And the smoothie place here does not add any sugars or whatever. So a good catch in Guatemala. And I'm gonna get a surf and turf sandwich before I'm gonna meet up with Laura and her mom again to have some seafood tostadas, which I haven't tried yet this time. And I just wanted to say the museum earlier was really cool, and after the museum I was out filming with this camera, and one of the school buses of kids spotted me, and then the teacher sort of encouraged them to come and talk to me in English. They found out I speak Spanish as well, and then I was basically surrounded by a horde of kids asking me all sorts of questions: where I'm from, how old I am, where I've been in Guatemala and outside of Guatemala, and how I liked it, etc., etc. Like, kids asking all of their questions, very curious. It was very fun actually. And in the end, the teacher also asked what my YouTube channel was, and so hopefully I see some of you here watching this video. It was a fun experience. If you understand this video in the first place. And then I went to Oakland Mall to get my hair cut before heading back to Austria, and my beard shaved a bit to look sort of more proper. And yeah, now I'm waiting for this food, but that's just something I quickly wanted to say before my food arrived. So the beeper just beeped. Aquí. Gracias. There we go. Right, so here we are with the maritera sandwich, and we got a spicy sauce. And let's try it out. Let's try it. The sauce is pretty good. Just slightly spicy, not really spicy at all. Like a mix between barbecue sauce and a spicy sauce. And here to the inside. So it has 5 shrimp and a bunch of pieces of lomito. It's good. I think they added a type of garlic sauce to that. I'm gonna add this semi-spicy sauce in here. But it's good. It delivers as promised. It's a surf and turf sandwich. The meat is very good. This is always in Latin America. And the shrimp, very fresh. Guatemala is a big producer of shrimp, so that makes sense. It's actually cheaper to get the shrimp one with meat than the queso manchego version with meat. Because I guess manchego has to be imported from Spain, and the shrimp, they get it here. And I think in Europe it would be totally different. Anything from the sea costs a lot more. So I'm gonna finish this. Very good. So here we are in Los Tatas Tostadas. Gracias.
Thai y pulpito.
I think este es tuyo, ¿no? Gracias. Tostadas.
Pero con sal. Así.
They're huge. So this is a Chuchito, which is a type of mini tamal. And Laura is opening it for us after having prepared it. And so what's inside this Chuchito?
I think it's pork. You can do it with turkey or pork.
Mm-hmm.
Let's find out. And some tomato sauce and paprika. Or I think it's chicken.
Chicken. We're here in Recipes in the 4th district of Guatemala City, and this is what you get when you order a super michelada. Basically an entire soup, tomato sauce, and a ton of avocado and shrimp. And this is what you get if you order a beer. Just a beer. Gracias. Wow.
Oh, mira, está rico. Eso es lo que pedimos la vez pasada.
Las tostadas.
Qué diferencia.
But this is amazing. Look at this. This is an 8 ounce of meat and 8 ounces of shrimp and avocado.
Gracias.
That's some tacos.
Ahorita le traigo la foto. Gracias.
Here we are at the end of the trip at the International Airport La Aurora in Guatemala City, and it was a great trip as always. Ciao, ciao.